Chair recognizes the gentleman from Nebraska, Mr. Bacon, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to urge my colleagues and fellow citizens to elevate our political discourse in which we participate for the good of our country. Some of what I see in America grieves me. The partisan divide grows more volatile and decency shrinking in our political dialogue. Many on the left continue to say Mr. Trump is, quote, not my president. And in the past, some on the right have said Mr. Obama is not my president. Now we have people who think it is comical to be photographed with a depiction of the president's bloodied head. I can only think of real-life intelligence photos I viewed of innocent men and women shortly after their decapitation at the hands of terrorists. Escalating America's political discussion to actions like what Ms. Griffin is guilty of undermines our nation's discourse and weakens the unity of our citizens, and I don't know where it stops. I fear we are pulling apart. The left and right should not hate each other. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. asserted, hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. We must be able to disagree, debate, and then strive together for America. When we pull apart, our nation weakens and our citizens become more vulnerable. I fear that if we continue down this path, the political wedge will be so ugly it will not be easily repaired. It is this pulling apart that caused us not to pass a defense spending bill on time for almost a decade. Our military leaders have stated we are back to the hollow force of the 1970s due to this congressional malpractice. Our Navy is unable to fly half of their aircraft. The Army only has 3 of their 58 combat brigades fully ready to deploy. And our Air Force pilots fly less hours today than they did during the hollow force years. In other words, the partisan rancor has undermined our nation's defense, and our servicemen and women are paying for this price in readiness. And if North Korea, Russia, or another threat try to take advantage of our weakness, our great warriors will pay with it with their blood. I love our country and our representative democracy. We had our times of extreme divide. At the beginning of our nation's history, there were very aggressive debates between the followers of John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, for example. We saw strife during Andrew Jackson's presidency when many of his opponents feared he was going to be America's Napoleon, and we survived those times. But let's not forget the bitter acrimony leading up to the 1860s when we saw physical assaults on the floor of Congress. That divide was only solved after over 600,000 Americans died in the Civil War. Let us debate the issues. I've already held 5 town halls myself to engage in the essential debates to improve our country, and we'll hold more. But when it comes to the vitriol and verbal assaults, let us all take a knee and reflect. Are we taking our nation to a potential precipice of a disaster if we keep turning up the volume of this partisanship? Earlier this year, the congressional freshman class signed a civility pledge. I again pledge civility. But I also implore our nation to include our media and entertainment to reflect on the tone and ugliness that we are seeing. Let us rein in the anger and disrespect. I implore our president, our Senate, all of us in the people's house, all of our citizens, let us raise the bar of our debate and treat each other with respect. Let's not again cross the line between criticizing the issues to criticizing the person. I've served in the military next to many great Americans for nearly 30 years, and we all swore to protect and defend every American with our lives regardless of our party affiliations. In fact, I rarely knew if a person was a Republican or Democrat during my time in the Air Force. But let's not forget, too, that during our history, 1.2 million Americans gave their lives in the defense of this country. They were Democrats, Republicans, independents. Some had no party at all. Some were Federalists, some were Whigs. They paid the ultimate price so we could have the privilege of a free and open debate that we enjoy today. They fought and died so our citizens could be the sovereigns of our nation. Let us turn away from the anger. Let's turn away from the outrage upon outrage, away from the character assassinations. Let us turn towards civil debate and contend for ideas and values in a manner pursuant to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When we lose an election, regardless of the party, let's do so gracefully and respect the will of the voters and the Constitution. Let us agree when we agree and respectfully disagree when we disagree. But to resist at all costs on every issue is damaging to our country. Today, some are calling for impeachment of our president. With the facts that we have, it is wrong. And it's putting politics over the well-being of our country. And we are better than this. Let's turn down the volume. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.